Have you ever had a completely normal conversation and suddenly felt defensive or shut down or misunderstood? Nothing big even happened, but your body reacted like it did. If you've ever been stuck, like you know better, but you still can't move forward, this might be why. Because what's holding you back isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's automatic. Welcome to Regulate and Rise. I'm Liana Empowers, founder of the Emancipation Frequency.
And I'm Tracy, founder of Ruha Rising.
And today we are talking about the hidden signals that keep you stuck. This is going to be an interesting conversation because the things that are happening underneath our awareness, inside our body, and our reactions, even our identity, is all affected by all these hidden things going on in our nervous system. So let's start off by asking Tracy to walk us through why our body reacts so strongly sometimes, even when we think something big isn't happening. What are all these things going on behind the scenes?
So we pick up on other people's energies, whether we know it or not. We're subconsciously reading, internalizing, accepting other people's energies, whether it's positive or negative. For example, think about when somebody smiles. That can make you feel so good inside. But if somebody's frowning at you, that can make all kinds of other energetic feelings go on inside. And the other reason we have such strong reactions or experiences, we have five senses and they're constantly feeding information into our brain, which gets fed into our bodies. They interact with each other, body, mind, spirit. So we're constantly having to be aware of or try to bring into our awareness, what are we seeing that's making us react? What are we hearing that's making us react? What are we smelling? What are we tasting? And that, doesn't mean you're eating food. You might get a metallic taste in your mouth when you're afraid or anxious. And also, what are we touching? What's the temperature? What are we touching? Are we touching something that reminds us of something? All of our senses bring memories to us that we're not always aware are going on. So that mixed with the energy that we're picking up from others and our environment, all of that mixes together, and that can create a strong, overpowering reaction or response. And we don't always know where it comes from until we pick it apart and look at it.
How do those things, that's a lot to take in because I think most people don't understand
Mm-hmm.
that all these nonverbal things you that begin to layer themselves in your body, like we were talking earlier about traumas. And when you're a child, you experience a trauma, and it can be something this big,
Mm-hmm.
but to a child, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then that layers begins to layer, and you begin to see evidence of it more and more in your life. And then it becomes your truth and it becomes a belief. And
Mm-hmm.
so how do these things keep us stuck? How do they put us in a stuck place?
Mainly because we're not aware of all the little intricacies going on, all the little small things, as you're saying. So, for example, piggybacking on what you just said, I'll give an example. Um, when I was little, I'm a little child, dad's big, dad had a deep voice. When I would get in trouble or he was upset with something, he would raise his voice and yell at me. Sometimes I don't even think it was yelling, it's just the fact that I'm teeny tiny and here's this big powerful voice talking down to me. So I internalized that, and as I got older, it just became, if anybody, it became an overgeneralization, and sometimes that's how we get overwhelmed. So I overgeneralized. If anybody raised their voice to me, it triggered that memory. Take that into relationships. As I got older, if a partner would raise his voice to me, it triggered that memory. So it's
Hmm.
all about, am I aware that's why it's happening? And sometimes we can be aware of it once we get to analyzing or bringing in our self awareness, increasing that. We just get stuck in these patterns, these habits, these responses. This, every time this tone of voice happens, this is how I react. Every time this tone of voice happens, this is how it affects me. So the sooner we can get awareness of that's why it affects me, it can help you help yourself, it can help you mend relationships, etc. So, yeah.
And sometimes in those instances when those things are coming up, it might feel like self-sabotage, kind of like we're sabotaging
Hmm.
ourselves,
Hmm.
um, because we don't know where all this is coming from.
Hmm.
And but it's really just our bodies protecting
Hmm.
itself. It's a form of protection. And that's one thing I know that I have to focus on is the nervous system is here to protect me,
Hmm.
but it might get out of balance in terms of protecting me because all these little things, habits, beliefs, smells, feelings, uh,
Hmm.
hypervigilance in terms of tone of voice and things like that, that has affected me my whole life. And it's just because my nervous system has not updated or upgraded itself to be able to look at that objectively when it's happening.
Hmm.
So, so what's really happening underneath? Let's talk about some people perceive themselves as lazy or feel like they have a lack of discipline, but something deeper is happening. Can you like break down what's happening in the nervous system when these things are triggered? Can you kind of break
Hmm.
down how it happens?
So,
Like oh, I'm sorry.
mhm. Oh, go ahead.
No, like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
Hmm.
Those are different
Hmm.
things that go on within our nervous system. But it seems really complex. But I'm sure you can break it down into an easier way for us to understand.
Hmm. And it is very complex because our bodies are so complex. So we experience something that we might make us shrink, for instance. For example, when we get yelled at as a child, we shrink. Oh no, we say things to ourselves. I need to protect myself. Our nervous system automatically, as Liana said, protects us. Whether we want it to or not, it's going to do something to protect us. And sometimes that looks like fight. I need to run because I'm feeling threatened. Somebody's going to hurt me. Sometimes it might look like freeze. I'm stuck. I feel like if I move, somebody's going to find me. I'm not going to be able to protect myself. I don't know how to respond. I'm just going to shut down, hide, run away, fawn. I'm going to do something to please you. I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do so that I don't get hurt. People pleasing. That's a form of survival. survival mode. That tells us our body's in survival mode because we feel like we have to do something to protect ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with us. Our bodies just automatically react or respond. There are ways to slow that down we can get into later, but our bodies automatically, our nervous system automatically does something, whether it's slowing down our breathing, speeding up our breathing, shooting adrenaline through our body so we're more aware and able to protect ourselves and be hypervigilant. It automatically does something. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not lazy. If you're shut down, you're just shut down. You're immobilized. And people don't always understand that means I can't do anything until I can get myself out of this survival mode. And if I don't have that self awareness, I'm just going to just not do whatever you're asking me because I don't feel right in some kind of way. I don't feel safe in some kind of way. So you're not lazy. You're protecting yourself. Your body's protecting you.
And it's so interesting because literally to understand and become aware of,
Mhm.
like you said, there's nothing wrong with you, but it's you getting the opportunity to perceive yourself in that moment differently by
Mhm.
saying, what is it about this moment and my reaction to it that made me feel unsafe right
Mhm.
now? Um, so let's talk about the parts of us that we don't fully see, those shadow
Mhm.
responses.
Mhm.
Uh, I know that, like you were talking about earlier,
Mhm.
um, my dad also, when I brought something up to him, I had seen my dad riding around the neighborhood with another woman, and I'm like 10 years old. I didn't quite understand it, but it made me angry. And so, me and my feisty self, I thought I would confront my dad on it, because it bothered me that much. And so, when I confronted him, actually, I didn't really see my dad all that much because he didn't come around a lot when we were younger. And when he came around one day, I confronted him on it. And it literally, he yelled at me so badly that it traumatized me for the rest of my life dealing
Mhm.
with men. I was afraid of men for a long time because I kept hearing that voice. And I thought, if I speak up, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to, something bad is going to happen to me. I can't speak my truth because I can't speak truth to power because something horrible might happen to me. And then I felt myself shrink in those instances when I was yelled at by a male partner,
Mhm.
when I was under attack by a male partner. It literally affected my relationships with men for a long time. So I get those shadow responses because I it's like a gut punch in your body, and
Mhm.
wherever you're feeling it is where it's affecting you.
Mhm.
Can you expound on that a little more? Like, how do old experiences show up in current moments?
Mhm. Depends on the moment, and they can show up in all kinds of ways. And we can go back to fight, flight, fawn. So, for example, if you're feeling threatened because you're always being accused of lying, let's say that started in childhood or early adulthood. Fight doesn't always look like I'm going to punch you out. Fight can be I'm going to get defensive. That's a form of protection. And I'm going to lash out at you verbally. I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to scream at you. That's my way of protecting myself and protecting my truth from what you're trying to tell me I am, was, or supposed to be. Um, so it can look like that. Shadows can look like what we see, what we hear. I might see someone not showing up for me as a child, for example. You told me you would be there. You didn't show up. I never saw you come and be consistent with what you said you were going to do. So that could lead to later on in life, I'm going to shut down or I'm going to people please. If I do this, you'll come around. If I do this, you'll like me. It can show up in all kinds of ways. That's just touching the surface of it.
And it really, I'm just thinking about all the ways it affects relationships with other people. It affects you because I was thinking about this morning because I reflected on my life and I thought, I have been judged. I think all of us think that we're good people
Mm-hmm.
overall. Well, some of us might not, but I do. And so it bothered me because I didn't have any clue how all of this was so intricately tied together. Like I did not
Mm-hmm.
know how that my nervous system was so out of whack, having been in survival mode most of my life. And then add to that all your beliefs, habits, uh, thoughts, self-talk, everything that goes in the same pot with a out of sync nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are judged by other people based on those things and it becomes part of your personality. Like you have a personality, but then all of this gets mixed into the same stew basically.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know that the nervous system is protecting you, then you have no idea why you're reacting in certain ways to things. And
Mm-hmm.
people, like I know people think I'm weird. And I think I'm weird sometimes, but sometimes I literally will withdraw from a situation because I don't feel safe in it and I don't feel comfortable. But it also has to do with my evolution and what I'll accept and what I won't accept. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that it has helped me tremendously just becoming aware of how my nervous system has played a part in me, in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I know how those things affect me, I can literally re- react to them in a different way. Not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
react, but pause and pull back
Mm-hmm.
and look at the situation in a different way. And that's the only way I can retrain my nervous system.
And sometimes you're always going to be doing that because we're always going to be challenged. We're always
Oh,
going to be triggered. We're always going to have stuff in some way come up.
right.
Yeah.
So, what are some examples? Like, I'll, I'll, I'll name one. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
what are some examples of how this plays out in real life? For example, like when someone is asking you a question, but for you, it feels like they might be criticizing you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if they say, well, why'd you do it that way?
Mm-hmm.
You take that on as an attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on how your body filters things and what you have been hyper vigilant to and attuned to most of your
Mm-hmm.
life, how you're going to respond in that moment. Because God knows I've been there
Mm-hmm.
several times in the last few years. And that's what brought it to the forefront for me.
Mm-hmm. So,
So, what are some other real life examples?
well, we can go with that one still to start and expand on it. Why'd you do it that way? That's a form of criticism. That's a judgment. It involves tone of voice. With tone of voice, what's the underlying meaning? That's where that shadow stuff comes in, that energy stuff that we still need to explore if we really want to grow and respond to situations differently. So, the more aware you are, for example, you'll be able to say, instead of why'd you do it that way, in your mind, you'll be able to talk yourself through that situation, kind of like what Liana was saying. I'm going to take a breath, I'm going to pause and acknowledge to yourself that felt like a judgment. How else can I respond to that without using that same negative energy and make it a positive energy?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to take that pause, you can, number one, calm yourself down because that gives your nervous system a chance to not continue to get tight, wound up, over responsive to what's going on around you. That pause right there will reset you and you can think differently. Because if you stay stuck with, why are they saying, why did you do it that way? I didn't do it that way. You know, if you continue talking to yourself negatively, they must think I'm stupid. Things like that. That can
And
keep going.
it just keeps
It
going.
just keeps going. And you're beating yourself up, and the situation doesn't change. Things aren't resolved. You're not getting along with that person. But again, that one little pause for a few moments, few seconds, can reset that whole thing and help you change your energy so you respond with a calmer energy. Because when we are in situations and we're feeling threatened, it's like, boom, here's a threat, boom, here's a threat, boom, here's a threat. And it just keeps going until it explodes out of control, or you retreat and hide and shut down. But again, if you can take those few moments, those few seconds to pause, that can take this down to here. Because if somebody's coming at you and you're constantly feeling threatened, if you keep fighting back, that's not going to stop. It's going to keep going and keep going and keep going. Kind of like the gladiators, you do it to the death back in
Mm-hmm.
the olden days. You got to stop that cycle. You got to stop that energetic flow and make it flow in a direction that's going to help you. You
Right.
can take that energy from that interaction, whatever threatening situation you're in, and you can bring it back to yourself and simply breathe, talk to yourself in a gentle way, say a few kind words to yourself. Let me look at this differently. The whole situation can change. It's not always that simple, and I don't mean to imply
Mm-hmm.
what you got to do is because
Exactly.
you got to have a whole toolbox of different things, which is why it's important to learn what's in my awareness, what's taking my energy, what are these shadows haunting me in my relationships, what are all these negative responses. I don't understand why I keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take the time to get to know yourself so you can stop those chain reactions, that energetic flow, and bring it down.
Yeah, and God, that was such good information. And critically, is being able to ask yourself in that moment, why do I feel unsafe right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this making me feel fearful?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and that's something that seemed so small was so big for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because I'm coming into the realization of these things at this point in my life, that I feel like, had I known this when I was younger, what better coping skills I would have had, and perhaps I would have done things differently. Because I think about the times that I have been presented with some wonderful opportunities with some wonderful people, but my container within myself,
Mm-hmm.
my humanity, myself that has developed in survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
could not hold. I think it was the pressure of what I felt like I had to live up to
Mm-hmm.
with that person, because I've attracted some amazing people in my life, but my nervous system did not allow me to be able to hold the container. And I wish that if I could go back and explain that to people, look, this is what was going on at that time, please forgive me because I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
and with age comes wisdom, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you know different and you're aware, you
Mm-hmm.
do different.
That's right.
And so, but the whole thing is not beating yourself up, because these aren't like personality flaws. They're just patterned ways of reacting to a threat.
Mm-hmm. There are ways that we learn to interact
Hmm.
in threatening situations. There are ways that we learn to respond. They just are. And we have
Yeah.
to dig deep and become more aware of ourselves so we can figure out, why am I responding this way? Why did I do that again?
Hmm.
What's going on?
And we really have to care, because nothing can change until we change ourselves. It's like, be the change that you wish to see in this world. And if you don't take responsibility, it's like when I became aware of how my nervous system was affecting me and affecting the relationships that I had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't look at me and change the way I react to things,
Mm-hmm.
how can I move forward and do the things that I do to help other people do that very thing, because of the experiences I've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
if I can't do it myself?
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a powerful thing in terms of, just think about how humanity would be such a greater thing if we all took personal responsibility for
Mm-hmm.
our actions,
Mm-hmm.
and we became aware of the things that trigger us. The Everything is usually a result of that fight or flight, and you can't run away from it. It's going to happen, like you said earlier. You just have to find ways to deal with it and to cope and to become aware and to respond
Mm-hmm.
differently.
Yes. And until we learn to do that, that stuff that we're ignoring or that stuff that we're not addressing, shoving down because we don't know what to do with it, that's like baggage. It's like everything that you're pushing down, that's like a little weight that you're putting in your pocket and it's just dragging behind you. And it
Hmm.
keeps dragging. The older we get, it just comes out in different ways until we address it. And I know maybe I'm taking this in a little bit of different direction, but we talked about, in this climate, how can we feel successful? How can we do anything when all this bad stuff or all this crazy stuff's going on around us? Think about the people making the rules and putting them out there and saying you need to do this and this is the law now and this, these are unhealed people. These are people that are lashing out or trying to find some power sometimes, depending on the individual, to control the situation so I'm not feeling hurt.
Hmm.
Sometimes our survival responses from what we've carried with us all our lives, how we were treated, how we were told we were not worth anything, etc., whatever the case is, it comes out in control. I need to control this so I don't have to look at myself. I need to control this so that I feel some kind of energy in me that feels good, whether it is or not,
Hmm. Hmm.
if that makes sense. But you can relate it to everything. These. it plays out in everything. All of our hidden traumas, from not getting to eat when we were hungry, that's a trauma.
Mm-hmm.
From not getting held when we were crying, whether we're an adult or a baby. you know,
Right.
these are traumas. We all have basic needs that need to be met: physical,
Mm-hmm.
mental, spiritual, eating, sleeping, affection. We need all of that. And when we don't get it, that's like a trauma.
Yes.
Unmet needs are traumas, little traumas.
Yes. And
Oh,
it's like
mhm,
it. Oh, you said a lot there, and what I was thinking was, it's like when I was raising my daughters, I made mistakes,
mhm,
and from an unhealed place, from a nervous system that was in survival mode,
mhm,
always,
mhm,
always moving from one thing to the other, fight or flight. But then when my grandson was born, I had evolved to a place where I knew I needed to be a different person. I knew I needed to be who I evolved to, and to integrate the lessons that I had learned from being a parent, and I needed to pour that into him and be a steward of this child, because the way that we steward and a guide, you are a guide of that little person, that
mhm.
soul. And
Yeah.
that's how I saw it. And it was very important to me to raise him in a different way than I had raised my own girls, because I saw the mistakes I made. That's a nervous system coming back online
Mhm,
and realizing what I had done, what I had been doing, and actually doing it a different way, and coming out with a different human being. You know what I mean? It's that
mhm,
important. That's why
mhm.
I think that this nervous system, and a realization of how you're dysregulated and how that plays into your life, is extremely important to your forward movement, to your
Yeah.
goals and the things that you want to achieve in life. And
Mhm,
it, whew, and a lot of it, I think, has to do with ego, protecting your ego.
mhm,
That's the biggest thing that, we go after. I've been guilty of that myself, as
mhm.
the Leo that I am. But oh boy, it's just critical to, you know, be
But
aware.
and if you had not owned that awareness, or been aware enough to own the mistakes you made or the decisions you wish you had done differently, and been able to look objectively at your situation, you wouldn't be able to move forward and parent your grandson or raise your grandson in a different way. You would have just kept repeating the same patterns.
Hmm.
Same outcome, same pattern, same pattern, same outcome. And
So tell me.
yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the opposite of that, someone not aware. I do know of someone very not aware, just could not let go of all the mistakes they felt they made, even though people told them it was all right. You did the best you could do. This particular dad just couldn't accept that he wasn't a perfect dad and didn't make all the choices he wanted to. So he's just stuck. They've all moved on, but he's still stuck feeling guilty and just beating himself up. 60 something years old. You got to move beyond that. You've got to
Hmm.
move beyond that. But you
Exactly.
got to be able to say, I did this. I want to change. I want to be more aware. I want to let go of this. I want to make different decisions.
Exactly.
Or that nervous system's just going to stay stuck in survival mode, shut down.
Hmm.
So,
And and another thing that is so on point, because what I've learned too is that the more you continue to respond to those uh, those cues, those hidden cues that keep coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't do anything about it, and you just keep, going, like we said, on that hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That is the loop. You stay on that loop
Mm-hmm.
as long as you are going to continue not to do anything and make choices that are going to regulate your nervous system. If
Mm-hmm.
you choose to do it and create balance, it's not a perfect process, like Tracy said earlier, but it is going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely going to help you. So, Tracy, can you give us some simple, usable tools? So, like, if somebody notices that these nonverbal cues and these body responses and things like that, when those are happening in real time, like if someone's talking to you and you find
Mm-hmm.
yourself reacting, or uh, something's going on around you, what can they do in real time? Like,
Mm-hmm.
notice, like, for example,
Mm-hmm.
step one, notice
Notice.
something just shifted in me.
So you may be in an interaction with someone, be it at work, home, out in public, wherever, church. You got to notice, like Liana said, something just shifted in the energy and the quality of this relationship right now, this interaction. And you have to notice that and then question what shifted. Was it a positive shift? Was it a negative shift? And you can ask yourself questions without beating yourself up. You can say, okay, right before this shift, what did I do or say? Right before this shift, what did that other person do or say? And then you just have to keep building on that. Okay, do I want to respond calmly? Am I getting defensive? Notice what your reactions are. So, first, notice that there is a shift, and then ask yourself questions what happened right before that. And that can give you some cues as to where this could go, which direction you want to take. And then be aware of what is your body doing. That can come from, let me do a quick body scan. What's going on in my feet, my legs, my is my heart racing? Is my stomach hurting? Am I getting a headache? Am I crying? Just a quick check in with what is my body doing. And then, do I need to calm it down if that's something that needs to happen? Do I need to step away from the situation so I can come back to it and respond better? Or can I take some deep breaths? Can I just put my feet on the ground? Let me just notice my feet on the ground. Let me just push them into the floor or the ground a little bit more. That will help balance you, center you, which could give you a different response. If your energy's all up here because you're all worried, that grounding can bring that energy down so that you can then use of that energy what you need to take from it to make a different decision and to make clearer decisions. Um, just grounding and breathing. And again, this all starts with noticing there's a shift. What happened right before that? What's my body doing? Can I change this interaction? Can I improve it? Do I need to step away? All the questions you need to ask yourself. And as you're trying to figure out your response, the grounding, just push my feet into the floor. You can even rub your hands on your thighs. You can just do this. This is a calming your nervous system activity. It's going on both sides of your body. It's calming your nervous system. It's almost like massaging, telling yourself you're okay. Doing this, like Liana's doing, that's a way to hug yourself without hugging yourself. I'm okay. Think about what you needed as a baby to calm down. When the baby's crying, you see what's the first thing a parent or an adult usually does? They pat them. That's where that calming your nervous system so you won't cry, so you won't feel as badly, so you can respond differently and change your feelings, feel better. Um, there's a whole other thing we won't get into here, but along with that, so remember, tapping calms you down. There's a whole different thing you can do with tapping and your pressure points to calm your nervous system down. So that could be another thing you can explore. There are apps, there are things you can read. There, everything's out there at our fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other professionals and Liana that can teach you different things to calm your body based on what your specific body's doing. So you can read everything out there, but you have to find what works for me.
For you. Mm-hmm. It's just, when you were talking about all that, it's like the baby parts of ourselves, those basic human needs never leave us. I was thinking about how a
Mm-mm,
baby needs swaddling, and how when they send the baby home from the hospital with you, they talk about how you keep a baby calm. And
mm-hmm,
you were alluding to that earlier, but that you swaddle the baby and you hold it and you rock it, because we need touch, we need warmth,
mm-hmm,
heartbeat, we need all those things, all those we forget. That's our inner child still alive in us that needs those things. And how do we give that to ourselves? How would you
mm-hmm,
give it to yourself if you had no one around? I have to figure that out. I go hug my grandson.
mm-hmm,
But there's also the adult part of me that needs to be able to soothe myself.
mm-hmm,
And I tell you, and I'll say it just as true as I know, laying on the floor in a prone position on my back, I feel like I'm in heaven right
Yes,
now, because
yeah,
it's like all the weight of the world is being grounded out of me. It's almost like transmuting the pain.
mm-hmm,
And boy, I'm just telling you what works for me right now.
mm-hmm,
It's powerful.
mm-hmm. Because
So, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
your body needs those touch points.
Yes.
That's how you release that hard energy that's affecting you. I don't always like to call it negative. That's hard energy. All that
Heavy,
stuff,
heavy.
yeah,
Hmm.
heaviness. Release that into the ground.
Hmm.
Standing, laying, however you need to do it.
Touching yourself. Sometimes we need to
That's
touch
right.
ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
That's,
Well, there's a whole brushing protocol where there are actual
yeah.
literal brushes that when I worked with kids, early intervention that needed that deep sensory input, we need that input. We need that stimulation. Otherwise, we're
Hmm.
just like soldiers all day long. No reaction, no response, just there. And
Yeah.
that's not how we're designed to be.
We're just big overgrown babies. Just baby yourself.
That's right.
Baby yourself, or find someone to help you baby yourself.
And
We owe it to ourselves.
as adults, we don't think we think that's childish. We're
Hmm.
grown. We don't need that. We just need to focus and we need to do that. No, that's what's
Yeah.
wrong with a lot of us. I hate to say that word wrong. That's what's going on with a lot of us. That's what makes it hard to
Hmm.
connect because we don't give ourselves permission to be, to
Hmm.
be held. That's not a baby thing. To be
That.
patted, to be
Mhm.
hugged. That's not a
That's like,
baby thing. Yeah.
learning how to receive. You know, part of nervous system dysregulation, I think, like you said, is people pleasing and doing for everybody else, but we need to learn how to receive
Yeah.
in order to heal,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to receive it, not only, you know, be allow ourselves to receive it from others, but we need to allow ourselves to receive it from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's critical.
Because if we're always taking our energy and pouring it into everyone else, it's going to disappear eventually. You're
Yeah.
not going to know who you are. You're not going to know what you want. You're just not going to feel right, or you'll just be like a robot, like the Stepford wives. You're just going to do because you just do, but you never bring any of that back to yourselves like you
Hmm.
deserve. And it's so hard for us to say, because I know I ask this question of almost every single one of my clients in counseling. What do you think you deserve? What do you feel like you deserve? And do you know 90% of them probably cannot answer that question? They don't
Wow.
feel like they deserve anything
Hmm.
because of what they've been told. They're
Hmm.
living in that survival mode. This is what I've always been told. I don't even know how to get that now. I don't know how to begin. I don't know how to say what I need. So we got to get to that awareness and allow ourselves to receive. Giving, there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to know how to receive and
Yes.
know that you deserve it.
Yes.
Because if you don't feel like you deserve anything, it's going to be hard to be successful, whether it's your career, your family, because you're not going to feel like you deserve anything.
Hmm.
You're just going to take what's given, which is not always good. Um, you got to give to allow yourself to deserve.
Ashe. Ashe. I agree. So let's stop right now and just take a breath for a second and think about a recent moment where you reacted to something. Really become aware of it. What did your body feel in that moment? Do you remember? How did you respond? And let's flip that. Let's think about why, what in that moment made me feel unsafe,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there. And like Tracy has given you so many wonderful tools to tap into when you're in these moments. And it's all about awareness. Nobody said it was easy, because God knows it's not. It's challenging. And
Mm-hmm.
you just want to go off and continue off on that track. But being able to hit the pause button is really going to help you start to shift your nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
so that we're not stuck,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you're not broken, and you don't need fixing.
Mm-hmm.
You have patterns running and loops that you're running that you were not aware of. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what regulate and rise is here for.
Mm-hmm.
Regulation is the path to your liberation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what Tracy and I want to help you do. Every week we'll bring, different subjects that matter to you, that will
Mm-hmm.
help you have greater understanding of your nervous system and how it affects you, so you can make the changes necessary in your life to have a better quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that hold us back aren't always loud or obvious. They're quiet, automatic,
Mm-hmm.
and rooted in protection. And that is the job of your nervous system. Remember, it's about balance, keeping
Mm-hmm.
that in balance. And the moment that you start noticing them is when they lose their grip. Tracy, do you
Mhm.
have any last words for us this week? Words of wisdom?
Just awareness can be changed. With your awareness, you can make changes. Awareness means control of myself and the world around me, how I respond to it. As Liana said, you're not broken. Stuff has just happened and we've learned these patterns. Remember to tell yourself every day, I deserve whatever it is. And another thing that I tell the people that I work with, I tell them, go home, look in the mirror and say, I'm the prize. I am worth it. I have something to give. I deserve love. Deserve affection. I deserve not to feel like I have to live stuck in this zone of protection and always feeling like I'm not safe. And the more you can say that to yourself, the more you can change your mindset and the more it can lead you to want to grow. I am the prize. I do deserve. Who are you to tell me I don't deserve?
That's
So
right.
just tell yourself, I deserve whatever it is you feel like you deserve. Love, affection, attention. Nothing wrong with any of that. People may tell you that. Nothing wrong with it. That just means they're not comfortable with it themselves. So they're going to tell you there's something wrong with that. You
Yeah.
deserve. You deserve.
I say again. So if you're ready to move out of survival mode and actually create stability in your life, remember there's so much going on in the world right now. People
Mhm.
losing their jobs, layoffs, and people need money. Things are god awfully expensive. Join the Sovereign Income Reset. It's my cohort for 10 women, begins in June 1st. The pricing will never be this low again, and it will help regulate your nervous system with Tracy's help. It will restore your income,
Mhm.
and you will regain your identity, because a lot of times when we as women lose our financial status,
Mhm.
we tie our identity to our jobs and our careers, we lose ourselves. So that's what the Sovereign Income Reset is going to help you do. Income within 30 days.
Mhm.
Uh, so the link is in the description. And also, if you want to connect with Tracy, she can help you reconnect to your body and regulate your nervous system and create that balance with Ruha Rising. And the link to her website is in the description as well.
Mhm.
And thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week.
See you then.